In the 26th century, over 300 years after the devastating war between Earth and the Martian colonies known as the Fall, a scientist named Dr. Dyson Ito combs through the Iron City's scrap yard, searching for valuable parts. Amidst the mountains of discarded metal, he uncovers a lifeless cyborg girl with an angelic face. Intrigued, he takes her to his cyborg clinic, where he discovers her human brain has been miraculously preserved. Driven by a mix of compassion and curiosity, Dr. Ito revives the girl, giving her an artificial body, and unknowingly sets the stage for an extraordinary journey that will test the boundaries of life and humanity itself. Originally built for his late daughter, the body brings a new life to the cyborg girl as she wakes, gazing down in awe at herself, surprised by the modified parts making up her seemingly ordinary teenage form. When she meets Dr. Ito, she admits she has no memories of her past. With gentle kindness, he names her after his daughter, Alita. Eager to explore, Alita rushes out onto the bustling streets, captivated by the sprawling, high-tech metropolis around her. Dr. Ito explains that after the Great War, all of humanity that survived was forced to adapt and rebuild in the Iron City, a society of resilience and complexity nestled below the mysterious floating city of Salem. In Iron City, a place where people and cyborgs scrape by in poverty, working tirelessly for the mysterious, elite society above in the floating city of Salem, Alita explores her new world, unaware of the towering dangers around her. While playing with a stray dog, she fails to notice a massive Centurion robot barreling toward her. Just in time, a young man named Hugo, a parts dealer who aids Dr. Ito in sourcing cyborg components, saves her from being crushed. A warm spark of connection ignites between Alita and Hugo, but Dr. Ito soon whisks her back to safety. Meanwhile, a troubling wave of crime sweeps over Iron City, hinting at the lurking dangers just beneath its industrial surface. A series of brutal crimes strikes Iron City, with mysterious attackers targeting residents to harvest their body parts. Alita learns from one of Ito's patients that these stolen parts are sold on the black market to fuel the deadly sport of motorball, where cyborg gladiators compete in violent matches for glory. On the streets, Alita encounters Dr. Chiron, Ito's estranged ex-wife, who resents her ex-husband's choice to place their deceased daughter's body on Alita. Driven by her grief and ambition, Chiron now works for the influential forces behind the black market trade and the sinister games of motorball, placing her in direct opposition to Ito's attempts to protect Alita. At a motorball tournament overseen by Vector, a powerful representative of Salem and ruler of the Iron City factory, Dr. Chiron proposes to Ito that they join forces with the elites to secure her return to Salem. Yet, Ito has no interest in going back to the Sky City or creating monstrous cyborgs for their brutal games, rejecting her offer. Meanwhile, Alita stumbles upon a street motorball game where she finds Hugo and his friends playing. Hugo invites her to join, and though she starts off clumsily, her natural agility and strength quickly shine through, sparking excitement and bringing her closer to Hugo. Alita's remarkable strength and agility quickly outshine the others, leaving Hugo in awe of her talent. Impressed, he offers to walk her home, and along the way, they pause at a food stand where she tastes chocolate for the first time, savoring the new experience. While there, they encounter Zapin, a local hunter-warrior, whose job is to hunt down cyborg criminals in Iron City. These bounty hunters, regulated by Centurions, are banned from using firearms to prevent any threat to Salem. As the days pass, Alita and Hugo grow closer, and one day he takes her to the city's highest point, sharing his dream of one day reaching the fabled city in the sky. From a vantage point in Iron City, Hugo and Alita gaze up at the floating city of Salem. Hugo reveals his dream of one day escaping the ruins below to live among the elite in Salem, sharing how the Sky City discards its garbage onto Iron City, meaning Alita might have once belonged to that world before being cast aside. Alita grows worried as she notices Dr. Ito sneaking out every night and returning with injuries, fearing he might be the mysterious criminal hunting cyborgs. Determined to uncover the truth, she follows him one night and sees him appear to corner a defenseless girl. Rushing to intervene, Alita soon discovers it was all a trap and ambush waiting for Ito, who was actually out hunting the real threats prowling Iron City. Alita and Ito fall into an ambush set by a gang of cyborg criminals led by the ruthless Gruishka. Instinctively, Alita jumps into the fray, determined to protect Ito. In the heat of the battle, flashes of memories from her mysterious past flicker in her mind, scenes of fierce combat on the moon. When she sees Ito wounded, something awakens in her, and she unleashes Panzerkunst, a powerful, long-lost cyborg martial art. With swift, precise strikes, she destroys two of Gruishka's men and deals him a serious blow, forcing him to retreat. After the fight, Ito takes Alita to the factory, where he reveals his role as a hunter-warrior, dedicated to ridding Iron City of dangerous criminals like Gruishka, the very monsters that haunt his past. Ito reveals that he became a hunter-warrior to avenge his daughter's death, and with each cyborg criminal he takes down, he earns enough to keep the clinic running and help the people of Iron City. Alita shares her flashbacks with Ito, and he explains that her heart, an extraordinary pre-war technology, is the most powerful energy source ever created, capable of powering all of Iron City for years. Meanwhile, a wounded Gruishka seeks repairs from Dr. Chiron, who works in Vector's workshop. During the operation, Vector, the technocratic ruler of Salem, exerts his control, planning his own sinister use for Gruishka in his schemes to maintain dominance over Iron City. Nova, now possessing Vector, offers Chiron a deal: create deadly cyborg assassins for him in exchange for a rare chance to return to Salem. Meanwhile, Dr. Ito discovers there's no bounty on Gruishka, suggesting he's protected by someone in Salem's elite. Alita, eager to uncover her past through fighting, decides to become a hunter-warrior, but Ito strongly dissuades her, fearing for her safety. Upset, she heads out with Hugo to watch a high-stakes motorball match, where winners of the tournament have a coveted shot at joining the Elite League, potentially earning a way up to Salem's opulent heights. In the middle of a motorball game, Hugo's friends urgently call him away, but it turns out he's the leader of a gang of robbers who prey on losing players, dissecting them for profit in hopes of earning a ticket to Salem. The next day, Hugo convinces Alita to accompany him out of town to explore a downed Martian ship lying submerged underwater. Drawn inexplicably to it, Alita sneaks into the ship's command center, where her instincts take over, and she effortlessly controls the ship's systems. There, she uncovers a highly advanced, pre-war body, bringing it to the surface with a sense of awe and destiny. At home, Alita asks Dr. Ito to transplant her head onto the advanced body she discovered, but he refuses, explaining that the ancient technology belonged to the Berserkers, a deadly Martian colony strike force that once fought against Earth. The doctor believes that a leader should seize the opportunity to start anew, leaving behind the violence of war. But Alita, stubborn and determined, views herself as a warrior and refuses to back down. She sets out for Salem's police station, where she obtains a hunter-warrior license, ready to take on the world alongside Hugo. Alita enters the bounty hunter's bar, trying to rally the regulars to fight against Gruish, but her proposal is met with mockery. The hunters, particularly Compass, refuse to take action since there's no reward for Gruish's head, and they don't want to stir trouble with Salem's authorities. Frustrated, Alita decides to take matters into her own hands, easily defeating Zappin and other hunters who challenge her. Just as the fight escalates, Dr. Ito arrives to stop the brawl, threatening to cut off free repairs for the cyborgs. The situation takes a turn when the upgraded Gruish bursts into the bar, leaving everyone in shock. Gruish has been assigned the task of destroying Alita, and he challenges her to a brutal duel in the dungeon. Only a small dog stands up for her, but the cyborg bully mercilessly kills it. Enraging Alita, fueled by fury, she accepts Gruish's challenge. Despite her formidable combat skills, she loses part of her body during the fierce fight, and even with one arm and no legs, she recalls her mentor's words to keep fighting. In a final act of defiance, she rips out Grusha's eye. Just as she struggles, Dr. Ito, Hugo, and a hunter-chronologist appear in the dungeon, forcing Grush to retreat and saving the exhausted Alita. Now, with her old body destroyed, Dr. Ito is forced to give Alita a new one, a body far stronger and more flexible than before. As she tests her newfound abilities, Alita discovers that she can create plasma with her hands, just like her father. Overcome with joy, Dr. Ito hugs her, reminding her that her new Martian body is just a shell, only she can decide what purpose it will serve. Alita, now filled with a renewed sense of power, rushes to find Hugo to demonstrate her upgrade. A romantic moment blossoms between the two, and they kiss, their love growing deeper. In her devotion, Alita offers to sell her heart to Hugo, marking a new chapter in their relationship. Alita offers to sell her heart to Hugo in order to buy a ticket to Salem, but Hugo refuses, suggesting instead that she participate in a trial motorball competition to enter the Elite League. Unbeknownst to her, Vector had earlier persuaded Hugo to bring Alita to the competition, hoping she would be destroyed there. The tournament owner, in turn, assembles a team of criminals and mercenaries, promising a reward for Alita's head. As the game begins, Ito watches from the stands, exposing the villains among the participants and warning Alita of the danger. However, Alita is determined not to back down, easily navigating the fierce challenges of the race, unwilling to let anything stop her. Alita defeats her opponents, quickly becoming the audience's favorite, while the match intensifies. During the chaos, Hugo begins to reconsider his criminal lifestyle and informs his partner, Tanji, that he will no longer be dismantling cyborgs. This sparks an argument between the two, and soon, Zappin intervenes, eager to avenge Alita. In his rage, Zappin destroys a wounded cyborg and accuses Hugo of the crime, leading to Hugo being immediately declared a wanted fugitive. Determined to claim the bounty, Zappin plans to turn Hugo into the Centurions, but Tanji steps in to save his friend, sacrificing his own life in the process. Hugo manages to escape and calls out to Alita for help. Determined, the girl leaves the arena and searches for him, relentlessly pursued by cyborgs, whom she defeats one by one. Meanwhile, Zappin corners Hugo, preparing to strike, but Alita intervenes just in time. On a nearby billboard, she spots a message from Nova, prompting the trio to head toward the factory where the villain's laboratory is located. Upon arriving, Alita is shocked to discover that Hugo has been lying to her all along. Zappin urges Alita to destroy him, labeling Hugo a criminal and insisting it is her duty as a hunter to bring him down. Unable to bring herself to harm Hugo, Alita watches helplessly as Zappin impales him with a sword. Desperate to save him, Alita rushes him to the Hunter's Temple, where Hugo confesses that he has never destroyed cyborgs. Alita believes him, but knows that she is still obligated to carry out the execution, or the Centurions will shoot her. Their conversation is overheard by Chiron, who was sent by Vector to track down Alita. Feeling a maternal instinct towards the young cyborg girl, Chiron devises a plan to circumvent the law. Alita leaves the temple, showing the first signs of hope as she prepares to follow Chiron's plan. The Centurions believe Hugo's execution has been carried out when they see his severed head, but Zappin notices that the boy's head is still connected by hoses to Alita's heart, keeping him alive. Seeing this, the hunter attacks the girl, but the Centurions view it as an attempt to steal a trophy and threaten to shoot her. Seizing the opportunity, Alita grabs Zappin's sword and cuts off part of his face, a feature he is proud of. Back in the clinic, the doctor attaches Hugo's head to a cybernetic body, explaining to Alita that Vector's offer to help the boy is just a trap, and the girl must now decide what path to take next. Alita's dream of getting to Salem was a lie. Ito and Chiron once lived in the Heavenly City, but the authorities expelled them because there was no legal way to cure their sick daughter. Furious, Alita decides to storm the factory, cutting down all the Centurion guards in her way. When she finally reaches Vector, she discovers that Dr. Chiron has been dismantled for his organs. Desperate, Vector calls for help from Grushka, but Alita envelops Zappin's sword in plasma and easily defeats her opponent. During the battle, memories of her past resurface, fueling her determination to bring an end to the corrupt system. Alita remembers her mentor's last words, commanding her to destroy Zayla. She forces Nova to communicate with her through Vector, who taunts and threatens to destroy her family and loved ones. Unable to bear it any longer, Alita fatally wounds Vector, telling him that he underestimated her. From Dr. Ito, she learns that the Centurions came for Hugo, but he escaped, intending to climb the cargo tube toward Zale. Alita catches up to her lover and pleads with him to return to Iron City and be with her. In the end, Hugo agrees, but as Nova lowers a weapon, the tension between them intensifies, leaving their fates hanging in the balance. As the protective ring comes down the tube, it tears Hugo apart, throwing him off in the process. In the final moments, Alita manages to catch her beloved, but cannot pull him up. Hugo, grateful for her attempt to save him, thanks her before falling to his death. Several months later, Alita has become a rising star in the motorball tournament, cheered on by an enthusiastic crowd. With her plasma-charged sword raised high, she directs her gaze toward Salem, swearing to avenge Nova. From above, Nova watches with a smirk, knowing the battle is far from over.